it's a great city. It's a great city.
That's cool. That's cool. I always wanted to go. I wanted to go to Australia, but I went to London. I think it was
Oh wow.
like, yeah, I went. Yeah, I went to London like I think about 4 years ago. It was a lovely city because I have family out there and good
Awesome.
experience. So and I know you like where do you live now? I know, but like where do you live now?
I live in LA. I'm in Sherman Oaks.
Okay, that's good. Okay. And what ethnicity are you?
I am just, a mix of a few different things. I mean, I'm pretty Anglo-Saxon. I think we have like Irish and Scottish in there. My grandfather on my mom's side is Czech, so Czechoslovakian a little bit. Eastern European. Apparently, on my dad's side, it's Spanish. There's a bit of Spanish and Italian. Vickery is like it's quite common in Spain and Italy as a last name. So, but it's not like, the closest thing I have to anything exciting in my, in my ethnicity is the Czech blood from my grandpa. So,
Okay. Okay, and you said Chuck Blood. Like, if you don't mind me asking, what is like Chuck? Like,
The Czech Republic is a country in Europe, towards Eastern Europe. It used to be called Czechoslovakia, then it became the Czech Republic. And my grandfather is from a town called Pilsen, which is where a lot of beer in the world originated and is made still to this day. So that's what his like hometown was famous for, and he grew up there and escaped from the war to Australia with a basketball team. And didn't speak a word of English, and then met my grandma, and the rest is history. Here I am.
wow. I think I know what you're talking about. A basketball team. Wow, that's different. That's
Yeah,
different. I think when you say Chuck, I think it's with pronounced with a C. Am I correct or am I?
it's CZECH.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling. That's super cool. That's really cool. That's like different. So, cause I haven't met anybody, uh, Chuck.
Yeah, I don't meet too many Czech people either. But yep, he was completely Czech. His name was Vladimir, but he had everyone in Australia call him Bill because it was just easier. And he has a very, very Czech last name, which was my mum's maiden name. That is like extremely hard to spell. So it was. She married my dad and took my dad's last name, which is how I ended up at Vickery. But yeah, the other name would have been very hard to say and spell.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I could probably understand that. I mean, people don't know how to pronounce my last name, which is Inverary, but yeah, I could see that. I could see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, and the third question is, how would you describe yourself in one sentence?
Oh my gosh. How would I describe myself in one sentence? I think, you know what? I think I could just sum it up in 3 words. How's that?
Go ahead.
I'm
I guess.
a Virgo.
Virgo. I've seen some of your stories too, and yeah, I said like, oh, she's a Virgo. She's a
I am a
Virgo.
Virgo. That pretty much said. I mean, I could get more complicated than that in a sentence, but I think that those 3 words pretty much that's everything. That's all you need to know. I'm a Virgo.
You're a Virgo. I would like
If
to.
you Google the Virgo,
Yeah.
personality traits and your tendencies, pretty much me to a T.
Oh, okay. Well, I would have to look that up. I don't know much about like what's it called? Like I forgot what it's called with Pisces and Tauruses.
Yes, yeah,
Astrology. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know much about that, but I'll look it up. But yeah, I'm just like she puts a lot of her astrology in the stories.
Yeah,
But yeah. Um
definitely. Virgo girl.
okay. And the fourth question is, why do you enjoy and appreciate being a woman?
Oh, wow. I appreciate being a woman so much and enjoy it so much, even though, obviously it comes with its own struggles and challenges and issues. I would so much rather be a woman than anything else. I think we are just so powerful and nurturing, and there's just a feminine power that we have that men just don't have, and it's powerful. I think there's nothing that we can't do. I think we're able to multitask and do it all, and I think that a lot of men struggle with that. They sort of have to be, one channel focused, and we are able to do so many different things at the same time and do it all well. I think sort of social conditioning has meant that we are able to be more in touch with our emotions and therefore more empathetic and compassionate. Not to say that there aren't empathetic and compassionate men out there, because there totally are. But I think that, toxic masculinity and social conditioning has meant that a lot of men out there are not as connected with their feelings and not as willing to sort of communicate about them and to be able to feel empathy and compassion at the same level to other people. I think women have that as part of our conditioning, which makes us, I think just kind, empathetic, compassionate, nurturing. We literally give life, where men can't do that. We're on our own. We're powerful. We're creative. We are brilliant. We are beautiful. We are strong. I think we are so strong.
You said it all. You
our
really
pain
said it.
threshold, I feel like, is higher. I just think we are so powerful.
We are, and we really are. We can do it all, to be honest. We could do it all. That's why Beyonce wrote the song "Who Runs the World?" Girls. That's why she wrote the song. But we can really do it all. It's amazing, actually. We just have to work on just being more together and inclusivity. But we're not that far. But women, we can really do it all. Yeah.
Yep. I think, and it isn't about being anti-men at all, at all. We need each other. And, men are fantastic as well. There are a lot of great men out there. I just think that, I would, if I had my choice, if I could go back into the womb and choose to come out, as a boy or a girl, I would pick a girl every time.
Yes. I really see, I agree with you too, because I don't know anything else. It's just women, they're brave, they're strong, we're beautiful, we're we can do it all. We can do anything we set our mind to, and it's not taking away from men either. It's just I don't really know anything else.
Right.
Yeah. So how do you empower yourself? Number 5? That's the question.
How do I empower myself? I think we all, as individuals, men and women, have our own unique sort of ritual, or rituals that we have developed, over the years to get ourselves into an empowered mindset, or to psych ourselves up before we have to do something important, whether that's go on stage or, sign in on Zoom to a big meeting or whatever it is, that where there's a pressure to show up as your biggest, baddest, most powerful self. And I think that for me, that ritual is often getting my physical appearance together so that I am able to project my confidence from inside. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's not to be underestimated to do your hair, like do your makeup, put on an amazing outfit that makes you feel incredible. And it's not actually about the superficial. It's not about the outfit itself. It's about how the outfit makes you feel, and then how that allows you to show up, you know, as a powerful woman in whatever situation you need to show up in. Like, we all know that if we're, you know, lounging around in sweats, that feels amazing, and we should do that often, and I do that all the time. But if I want to feel like a bad bee, you know, I am going to put on something that makes me feel amazing and powerful. I also think another way to empower myself, and a good way that anyone can empower themselves, is preparation. I think preparation is extremely empowering. If you go into a situation prepared, you're going to feel so much more confident and powerful than if you kind of go in and wing it. And sometimes winging it works out beautifully, and that's great too. But I think, you know, being empowered is being prepared. Like, if you have done your research on whatever you're about to do, or you've practiced, or you've worked on your craft to the point where you've mastered your craft, it's hard not to feel empowered when you go and do something that you are, you know, prepared to do, that you have worked on, that you have mastered. So yeah, I would say the two ways that I empower myself are preparation and putting on something that makes me feel amazing about myself.
That's a really good answer, Alex. I think it's all about, like, whatever makes you feel better inside, and if you prepared for it, like you said, it's all about being prepared and, like, knowing that you did your best, and, like, and you're coming into yourself, and yeah, you just, you know that you tried. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, so, okay. We're on number 6, and that'll be the last question for global girlhood, until we reach the more juicy questions. and and number 6 is, do you have any advice for girls who are also trying to empower themselves?
Yeah, I think preparation. I think nothing is more empowering than knowing that you're going to kill it because you've put in the work, you know? Like, I think, you can't be over-prepared. I think learning as much as you can about whatever it is that you want to do before you go ahead and do it is going to instill in you so much more confidence than if you just sort of had a dream to do something and just tried to do it before doing the work, doing the research, doing the practice, like making sure that you are ready and, you know, and you're as prepared as you can be. So yeah, I think definitely preparation. I think also positive affirmations, like, you know, that voice in our heads and the things we tell ourselves, like, that matters. You know, negative self-talk can be really damaging, and we can start to manifest, you know, the things that we say to ourselves and about ourselves, whether they're positive or negative. So the more positive self-talk that you can, you know, give yourself, the better. You know, waking up, and even when you don't feel particularly powerful that day, or particularly beautiful, or particularly smart, you know, it's about getting up and telling yourself that that's what you are, and, you know, you're going to get up and get the day and take the day on. So,
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. I kind of struggle with that, but, like, what I try to do is that I try to just, like, know that I'm trying. I'm not gonna have, like, great days every single day, but, like, I know that there's good things that come to people who wait. There's good things that, like, you just have to just, like, know that, like, God made you for a reason, and you just have to walk in your greatness. It's hard, but you'll find a way. Yeah. So, okay, we're gonna touch on the more non-global girlhood questions that are about music, and I know Alex knows a lot about that. And so I'm going to ask Alex a question for number one. These are bonus questions. So with number one, yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna say number one, when did you first get your start in music and professionally?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess when did I first get my start in music professionally? I always did music. I started learning instruments at like 5 years old, and I sang in, girl groups and stuff in high school, and traveled the world competing in in singing competitions and stuff. So like I was always doing music, but it was more so like as a hobby, as an extracurricular activity at school. I would say when I actually started pursuing it professionally was in about 2015, 2014 maybe. Yeah, probably 2014 when I wrote a song with a friend of mine in Brisbane in our hometown. And the song ended up getting, quite a bit of attention, and it resulted in both of us coming over to the States and doing publishing deals, and she did a record deal. Her name is Say Grace, and the song is called Boyfriend Jeans, by the way, if anybody wants to look it up. But yeah, that song was written in her bedroom when she was like 14 years old, with me, and that was, it must have been like probably like more like 2012, 2013 that we actually wrote that song. But then in 2014, 15 was when, the song kind of caught the attention of certain people, and then we ended up over here in the States showcasing for major labels. And that was sort of the beginning of both of our careers.
Yeah, I just thought it was really interesting because, Say Grace, I heard about her, and like I didn't know that she sung "You Don't Owe Me." Is it "Owe Me"? "Owe Me"? Yes, I didn't know that, and I'm just like hearing it on the radio. I'm not sure. I think it was like in like 2000. Was it 17 or 15? 15?
No, 2017 that came out. Yeah.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I just didn't know that she sung that song with G-Eazy. I'm just like hearing it on the radio. You don't own me, and I'm just like, wow, this is really. And then to know that that's her, and then I'm just like, I'm looking at you guys on on social media, and I'm just like, wow, that's really cool. Um, yeah. So, we're gonna go back to Call Me Grace, I think, in a few, but yeah, and number two, if you weren't doing music, what would be the next best profession you'd want to take on?
Well, prior to pursuing music full time, I was doing, PR and marketing in Australia, working for an agency that did a lot of like fashion, beauty, lifestyle, consumer kind of stuff. I also worked in magazines, so writing for a magazine, and I did my internships in like TV. So I did, television production, and thought for a minute I wanted to be like a TV host or something.
Wow.
And that was when I was really I went through this period between probably about 16 and 21, 22, where I was super focused on being sensible and doing things that I felt were safe and were going to set me up for like a secure, safe life. And so music was one of the things that I felt was just super unreliable. It was like, impossible to succeed in. It's like the 1% succeeds. What's the chances that I'm actually going to make it?
Yeah.
And so my thought process between 16 and 22-ish was definitely like, okay, come on, it's been great doing music all these years, but you really should get a real job. And, what does that look like? So, I went to school for journalism and then ended up in the media industry in Australia. And then it was only when I got into like my mid-20s that I sort of reversed into this mindset of, spontaneous, following your dreams no matter what. Who cares if it doesn't work? You can always come back to this. So I sort of, I had this very mature sort of old person's mentality when I was 16 and choosing where I wanted to go to school and what I wanted to do. And then I hit my mid-20s and I was like, let's get crazy. I'm going to move to America. Let's give this music thing a try. I just went back. I sort of did things in reverse a little bit, but I don't regret anything because, I still use all of those skills on a daily basis. I think to be a musician now or just a creative in the music industry, you have to also be able to market yourself. You have to have, those skills. So if I hadn't have done what I did the way I did it, I wouldn't have any of those skills. So it's helped me create She Found Her. It's helped me kind of foster brand relationships between musicians and brands. So it all happened for a reason. But if I wasn't doing music, I would probably be doing that because that's what I was doing before I moved here. I also love beauty a lot, and I actually have worked as a makeup artist in the past as well. So I love beauty. I love florals. I would secretly love to have like a florist and, just make flowers all day and wrap gifts and I don't know. I have a few different identities living inside of me.
It's okay. It's all good. And when you said something, I'm kind of track backing. When you said about being a TV host, I was like, I could see it. Like, if you, I could see you, on, E! News, E! Online, something like that.
Back in the day, that would have been my absolute dream job. When I was 17, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? E! News, that would have been my ultimate. I would have been like, that is the dream. Yeah. But you can't ignore when you have music inside you and you've been purposed to share that and to use that, it's really difficult to do anything else. Because your soul is kind of just telling you, screaming at you that it's wrong. It's weird. It's I just think when you are given a gift like that, it's not on accident, and you should be using it. And when you're not using it, it's like every bone in your body is kind of telling you that you're missing something. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This isn't it. This isn't the thing. Stop. Do something. Go pursue music. So I think that ultimately, even though I would have thought that was my dream job at 17 or so, I think if I actually had have gone down that road and been a TV host, I still would have had that missing piece, that voice inside me reminding me, what are you doing? You're supposed to be doing music.
Yeah. That's understandable. That's understandable a lot. I really can empathize. I really understand where you're going with this because, although I still have my fair share, I want to try to sing, and I still have to work hard at it. I want to try to take more voice lessons and all that stuff because I like songwriting. And yeah, it's just it's and I don't think you have to be a singer to do songwriting that much, but yeah, but at the same time, it's still I like singing, and sometimes it's kind of hard because sometimes you forget how to breathe from your diaphragm, and you forget how to do all these stuff that you're supposed to know already. But it's just sometimes that happens, and but at the same time, I really can understand where you're coming from. Music is what your calling is, and if that's what your calling is, if that's where your heart is, then you're gonna think it's kind of wrong. But yeah, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything that you want to do. You can be a baker. You could do floor, be a florist, like you said, and you can do anything.
I mean, you can wear a lot of hats, I think, and I have always worn a lot of hats, and that's fine. But I just think if you're not actively pursuing that thing that is your, then you're going to keep getting hit in the head with it until you do. You're going to keep struggling with the fact that you're not doing it. So I think it's a way to, there's a way to balance everything so that hopefully, none of us are one-dimensional either. We're not all one-dimensional people that just have this one thing. Like, lots of people are multi-dimensional and multi-talented and have lots of different interests, and there's a way to indulge all of those. But I think that when something's actually missing from your life, like, because at one point when I was working in PR and marketing and media and stuff, I just wasn't doing any music at all. Like, I was lucky if I was, sitting down to the keyboard like once a month to play something, or like I just wasn't engaged in creating music whatsoever. And so I think that's when you start to just get that feeling of like, oh, this is wrong, something's missing,
Yes.
And then that voice just gets louder and louder and louder and louder until you can't ignore it anymore. And then you do something drastic like quitting your job and moving to another country.
Oh. Yeah, like that's really understandable, and that's great that you, like, your heart was in it. You knew something was missing, and you went to America, and and they liked your work, and that's really good. That's really good for you, and your heart told you, so that's really good. Yeah, that's really inspiring as well. I'll say that.
Thanks, Bridge.
No,
I'm glad.
No problem. And okay, where was I? Which question? So yes, we're going back to Call Me Grace, and number 3, the third question would be, okay, so you've worked with singer-songwriter Call Me Grace. How has that experience been for you?
Yeah, well, so her Instagram handle is Call Me Say Grace,
yes.
But her artist name is just Say Grace, so she's just Say Grace. But yeah, it's probably one of the most important relationships in my life. She is like my little sister. I've known her since she was 12. We've been writing songs in her bedroom since she was like a little kid, in like not even junior high. We call it different stuff in Australia. Like, so I always get confused between like, what's a freshman, what's junior high, what's, but basically, like, I think she was in like the 8th or 9th grade when we started writing songs together.
Okay.
And the only reason I even knew her was because I was working for her family's magazine. So I was writing for her family's magazine, and her mom was my boss.
Okay.
So, she suggested that I go and write a song with her daughter, who was like a little kid. And I was sort of like, whatever, like, I will go and do this because my boss is kind of telling me to, but thinking in my head, like, I don't really want to go write a song with this little kid on my weekend, like, and so I go and do it, and I obviously was completely blown away by her talent, and thank God I did, because I got a career out of it, and I got a little sister. So, I love her to death, and she's my favorite collaborator. She's my favorite person to just be around. And yeah, we will have each other's backs forever and ever. That's my baby. So yeah.
That's nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I've seen it wasn't a story. I think it was an IGTV on She Found Her. Yeah, like I've seen your interview with Say Grace, with Grace, and I just thought you guys look so inseparable. It's really cool that you guys have this like dynamic and this like closeness, and I'm just like, wow, that's really cool. You guys.
I mean, it's amazing that we have been able to come from the same, relatively small city in Australia, and both end up on the other side of the world, with each other, like having each other here. I mean, she lives, in her own place. We live together, but she's around the corner. She's down the street. She's 20 minutes away. Like, and having that slice of home, when you're in another country on the other side of the world, and you're so far away from your family, it just makes you feel like you have a piece of family here. And so, yeah, I honestly don't know what I would do without her. So, Yeah.
That's really nice. That's really nice. Yeah, I wish maybe one day, hopefully, I'll have the same thing. But like, that's really cool that you guys are this close. This close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so number 4. For those who've never heard of your organization, could you please tell our viewers what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So She Found Her is a place where music's rising stars can connect with entrepreneurs in fashion, beauty, lifestyle, wellness, tech, all kinds of industries, really, for the purposes of collaboration. And essentially, it's about getting more girls booked and hired and paid. It's about helping brands find talent for things that they need talent for. And it's about helping creatives find each other. So if you're a young indie singer-songwriter and you need somebody to style your video, but you don't have a lot of budget, maybe you're looking for somebody who's a student who needs to do it for their portfolio, you can find that person. Maybe you're a bigger artist and you have budget and you have money to spend and you're looking for an incredible florist that you need to design a floral installation for a stage set, that for a stage that you're performing on. You can find that person who's done florals for Oprah and the Oscars and Cartier and these amazing places. So there's something for everybody. There's someone for everybody in our community at She Found Her. You can find people to collaborate with purely on a collaborative basis. You can find jobs. You can find paid opportunities, and that's really the whole idea. We started off as the box, which is why you'll see it says She Found Her by the box sometimes, because we just want to remind people who knew us then that we're still the same company, we're the same people, the same organization, we just changed our name. So we started off as the box, and that was a series of physical events that we held in LA over a couple of years. We held these amazing showcases where we'd have like 4 or 5 musical acts on stage, and then we'd have 4 or 5 brands doing pop-up experiences around the room at the same time. So we would have someone on stage performing, we would have a pop-up mani salon where people were getting their nails done, and we would have a flower crown station where this amazing florist, Itika from Old Vine, is making, floral flower crowns for everybody. And you would have a live painter like Cece Hood doing, a beautiful painting right there in front of everybody live. So there would be like all these experiences happening in the room that you could interact with, but also enjoy the music. So that's how we started, and that was our thing. And then obviously COVID hit, and we could no longer gather and have live music and live events. So we had always intended to digitize what we were doing and turn it into more of a website and a digital platform. But I guess the pandemic really pushed us to do it sooner than later. So we just had to get our butts into gear and, create the website and get that side of it set up. And with that, we decided to change the name to She Found Her, because the box felt fun and it sort of irreverent before, but we also are aware that that's a name that is used for, like, there's a theater in New York called The Box, there's an art gallery here in LA called The Box. So it just we've heard it before, it's something that other people are using, and we just thought that's going to be a bit tricky to stick with down the line. So we decided to change it to She Found Her, because the word wasn't being used at all. We couldn't find any record of it. Putting she and found and her all together and making it one word. So that just didn't seem to exist. And we just thought it looked cool on the screen and on the page, and it sounded cool, and it said what we were. It's where this is a place where you can find her, So we were like, well, this kind of says what we're trying to say. It looks cool. We were picturing it look cool on like merch and hoodies and t-shirts and stuff. And we're like, this is just perfect. So so we did a whole rebrand, and then had to file for trademarks and buy domain names and all of that stuff. But it's still under development. Like, we're still building out the part of the site where people can go on and make their own profiles and then interact with other people. So that sort of networking element of it is still being built. But that's essentially who we are and how we came to be. She found her.
I like it. I really like it. I like that concept. I like that it's like she found her, and it's just like it's so witty. That's what I think. That's what I first thought when I saw it. I'm just like, wow, I would love to be a part of this. And I'm thinking every other girl, yeah, yeah. I know that like there's like a lot of women, young girls that would love to be a part of this as well, because it's like by an both award winning songwriters, so why not? And like, you know, you get to have fun with other girls and young females who like the same things you like, music, fashion, artsy things. Why not? So and I like that you and She Is the Music, and Girls Who Listen, you guys are really taking the initiative to like bring women who love doing these things but don't know how to like get into like step foot into the industry, and that's really cool of you guys to do that. So yeah.
Yeah, and we love those two other organizations you mentioned as well, Girls Who Listen and She Is the Music. We've worked with both. Yeah. On various levels. We've collaborated with them on different things. You know, She Is the Music has been in partnership with us on two of our events. One was a showcase and one was a writing camp we did in 2019. And Girls Who Listen, you know, we've worked with them with, like, I've done, you know, student mentoring and stuff for their Girls Who Listen university students. And yeah, it's a tight-knit community of women in music for sure. So we all know each other and we all love each other. So it's great.
Yeah, I could definitely I see you guys like all the time on social media. So yeah, I really pay attention. Okay, so we're on question number 5, and this is about your fellow songwriter, and your co-founder, Kate Morgan. So yes, question number 5 is, how did you and fellow singer-songwriter Kate Morgan meet?
We met in a session. Kate and her partner at the time were living together and working together a lot. He was a producer and she was a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And I was put in a session with them by my publisher because myself and Mike, her partner, at the time were both with Sony ATV. So our publisher had set us up on like a blind date session. You know, we'd never met before. We'd never, you know, worked together. It was just like, hey, do you want to work with this person? Sure. So I show up for the session and it's at their home. And it was with the two of them and we just clicked. All of it, like the three of us just clicked and vibed and loved what we wrote that day. So I went back and did more sessions there, and then we just started working together really regularly and having a great time. And you know, I'm still great friends with both of them. Obviously Kate's my co-founder and one of my best friends, but I love Mike as well, and I love his family, his dad. So yeah, I just got two beautiful friends out of the situation and a lot of great songs, a lot of collaborations. And then I ended up actually moving in. They needed a housemate, I don't know, a few months after we had met, and I was looking for a place. My lease was up. Okay. And so I also scored two housemates. I ended up moving in, and I lived with them for like, a year and a half maybe. So yeah, we lived together. We were roommates, we were collaborators, we were friends. And yeah, that's how we met.
That's cool. That's really cool. You made a friend out of it, or friends out of it. So yep. That's really cool. Yeah. And I've spoken to Kate on social media. I've spoken to her because like I followed her and she followed me, and I spoken to her through DMs. Very lovely girl. Yeah, she's just. Yeah, like I'll speak to her. She's like, one day we're gonna set up a session, me, you, and Alex, and I'm just like, okay, I'm willing and waiting for that. And yeah, she's not there, but one day.
I know. One day when she gets back from Berlin, eventually. I mean, she's really living there now. That's her home now, and she's loving it. And I'm so happy for her that she's so happy over there. And I love Berlin. Berlin's a great city. So any excuse to go visit her as soon as COVID settles down a little bit, I'm gonna try to get over there and have a little Berlin visit with her. But yeah, I miss her very much. We went from living together to her moving to the other side of the world. So yeah, I'm sad but also happy because I know she's doing so well over there.
You guys should meet up, and you guys at least you're just like one phone call away, and like not really one plane trip away, but you guys will meet up eventually. So
for sure. And she'll be back over here, when it's not so crazy with COVID and everything. And yeah, I definitely plan on heading over there. I haven't been to Europe since 2015, okay. So I'm ready for another Euro trip as soon as it's safe.
Yeah, you definitely should. You deserve it, so definitely should. Okay, no problem. So where is the next question? Okay, so number 6. How did you and Kate Morgan decide to make the She Founder organization?
Well, originally, like I said, it was the box, and Kate really came to me and was like, we were talking a lot at the time about just our frustrations with being a woman in music and the issues that we were facing, the challenges, and also just the lack of stages for us to perform on. We felt like there just wasn't the right kind of events and stages that we were able to go and perform on and get our music out there to some more people. I mean, in LA, it's like, you can play the Hotel Cafe, you can play the Peppermint Club, and, the Troubadour if you're bigger. And then, there's just like a handful of live music venues, and they didn't work for everybody. Like, it didn't work for everyone. So we were like, well, what if we created something? We created our own stage because this is just getting annoying. And so we did. And it was really Kate's brainchild in the beginning. She was like, I just want to create a stage for like us, like for you and me and our friends, to like where we can do this, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's once a quarter, and we create the whole vibe. Wouldn't that be amazing? And I was like, yeah, that would be amazing. And it started off as just, it started off as us trying to create a stage for ourselves and our friends who we believed in, that we felt were so talented that not enough people knew about,
Yeah.
And we originally had planned to have it at this little, 30 capacity bar that was around the corner from our apartment when we lived together. I mean, literally 30 capacity. You could not fit more than 30 people in there. It was tiny.
Wow.
And that was our plan. That was how small it started. It was like, let's just do a regular, live night at this tiny, tiny bar. And then, we never ended up doing it at that bar, because before we could even get there, we just started making phone calls to see who would be interested in being a part of what we were planning. And all these people came out of the woodwork, and they were like, I'm there. And then it sort of evolved into something bigger than that venue was going to be able to hold. And so we quickly realized, okay, that 30 capacity space is not going to work anymore. We're going to have to think bigger. And then we sort of then came up with the idea to involve brands and entrepreneurs as well, and have it be a place where music and lifestyle intersected. And what you go for the music, but while you were there, you might discover an amazing new jewelry line that you were obsessed with, and it was all women. So yeah, then it really evolved into something bigger. So we had to, find another venue, and we ended up collaborating with Gibson Guitars. They have an incredible showroom space in LA that we used instead. So, then it just kind of went on from there, and then we branched out into songwriting camps. And now, obviously, we've rebranded to She Found Her, and we're trying to make it, more of a digital thing, especially while the pandemic is still outside. So, that's kind of how it came to be. It really started out really small, like so small in our minds. It was really going to be very, very intimate, 30 capacity, like live night. It turned into something, much bigger. So, yeah.
That's really cool. That's a really cool business move as well. That's what I'm thinking. Like, wow, like you guys collaborated with you said Gibson guitars and like jewelry lines, and that's just like really cool. Like you're just not obligated to one thing. You're obligated, like, there's majority of things that you could do: music, fashion, and that's the whole thing about She Found Her, which it just makes it different too, in a sense. So yeah, that's really cool. That's really dope.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay, so um number 7, for question number 7, how was the opportunity like creating music for the hit series Empire?
Oh my God, it was so fun. That's been one of the funnest experiences, kind of deep diving into that show. Because a lot of people in LA, like a lot of writers, will go to a songwriting camp for Empire. But, maybe they'll sort of dip their toe in it. Maybe they'll write and won't place anything. Or maybe they'll write and place one song and then just kind of like move on. And I really delved into that show. Like, I went deep into that show and worked really, really heavily on the music for that show over a period of 2 years, with some of my best friends. So, again, it was just like the dream scenario, working with your besties, having the best time. And, I loved it. I loved working on music for that show.
It seems like, yeah, I just wanted to ask that question because it's just really interesting. I've watched a couple episodes of Empire, so it's just like really like exciting for me to know that you've been on Empire. And just to make sure, did you write for Star as well? Did you like create music for Star, the TV show?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's.
I did more for Empire, but I did.
That's
2 stars.
that's really interesting. That's really cool. Like that is really cool. Did you? I'm sorry about that. Did you did you meet like anybody on the show, or was it just strictly like music, or like
No, I met some people. I mean, I was in the studio one day with Mario, who was cutting one of our songs, so that I got to meet him and work with him briefly, and he's such a lovely guy. And we meet people at like there's like a rap party, or like you get to meet quite a lot of like the cast and the producers and stuff at those events, but I haven't met everybody. Like, I've never met Taraji, and I love Taraji so much. But yeah, a lot of like the singing cast members, yes, because they are attending these like rap parties, or we're in the studio with them because they're cutting vocals or whatever. So yeah, I've met Mario and Soraya, and yeah, a couple of other people. But yeah.
That's really interesting. That's really cool on your part, Alex. Okay. And I know you've met the Cherish sisters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fallon and Felicia are two of my best friends, and I love them. Yes, I did like most of my songs for Empire, and well, actually just Empire, not Star, but most of my Empire songs were with Fallon and Felicia. There were a couple that were with other people, but most of them it was us working as a team together. So yeah, they were my. I met them through Empire. So I made when I said I made great friends through the Empire project. Those two were definitely like two of the best friends I made through that whole process. Yeah, love those girls. And also Nicole Fox, who was the music supervisor for Empire and Star, who is also a great friend that I made through that process. So yeah, I feel really lucky to have worked on those shows, because not just because of the music that we made, you know, but because of the amazing friendships that I came out of that with.
That is really cool. That is just, yeah, that's really cool. That's something. I used to be a fan of Cherish. Like, I don't like saying back in the day unless it's like 2002, but like, and I still like Mario. I really like Mario. And I used to like Cherish Unappreciated like in
Such a good
2006.
song.
Yeah, like, yeah,
Such a good
you
song.
you
Yeah,
know.
those girls are so talented.
They
Like,
really are.
it's insane, and I feel like the world hasn't even seen like the true extent of their talent as individuals. Like, they're both working on solo projects, Fallon and Felicia, and the music is just going to blow people's minds. So yeah, look out for that. I can't wait for them to put out their music and for the world to hear what they've been working on.
Yes, I really gotta keep tabs on that one, Alex. Thank you for the update. Thank you. Yeah, and I can't wait until you put out things as well, Alex. You and
Oh
Kate.
God, I know. This is the thing. Like, I feel like, you know, putting out my own music has definitely taken a backseat to, you know, songwriting and building She Found Her.
Hmm.
It's putting out music as an artist is a whole nother grind. It requires so much time and resources, and you know, I just haven't had the steam to put behind my own personal, you know, artist career. So when I put out music, it's really for fun. It's really just for me to put something out and show myself that I created something that I'm sharing with people. And it's just sort of, for me, it's scratching that itch of being able to be the one delivering the song, which I really do enjoy. I love writing for other people, and I love seeing other people bring my songs to life, and that's really rewarding for me as well. But sometimes I do want to be the one to sing it, you know. Sometimes I do want to be the one delivering the message, and so when that happens, me putting it out is not about me trying to be the next Beyonce. It's just about me being able to deliver my own message and put it out really just for me, you know. And you know, if other people like it, awesome. But yeah, it takes a lot of time to work on those releases and getting them mixed and mastered, and you know, creating artwork and you know, and getting them on playlists and getting, like, it's a whole another grind that I'm just like not really focused on right now, but I will definitely put something else out at some point.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, you have a lovely voice. I saw your or I listened to your single. I think it was on YouTube, because I just like digging, and I just like Alex Vickery, and then it was like you with a sleeping mask on, and then I was like, oh, she has a good voice. She has a nice voice. So yeah, I just had to put that. No problem, no problem. Okay, just want to share that. Okay, so we touched on that, and then number 8. We're almost done with the questions, but number 8. What could you see yourself doing in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I would love to have some songs come out with some iconic artists that just real dream come true stuff, you know? Like, I would love in the next 5 years to have a couple placements come out that really would blow my childhood mind, you know? Like, if 12-year-old Alex found out that, you know, grown-up Alex had a song with this person, they would just be screaming and running around the room. That's the kind of placement I would love to get in the next 5 years. I just want to work. I'm trying to manifest that. I want iconic artists to cut my songs. I don't care for, you know, it's cool. Any placement is a great placement, and just having your music out there in the world is amazing. Mm-hmm. But I'm less focused on, you know, whatever the latest, you know, hottest new person is, or I'm just less focused on that and more interested in, you know, just timeless music that is being delivered by somebody who I just respect and idolize. Like, I think that's really the goal for the next 5 years. And anything else that happens, like placements with new artists, I'm all for it. Like, yes, let's do it. But I'm really sort of just like trying to manifest and focus on icons, legends, you know, timeless, amazing music. So that's kind of my goal for the next 5 years, I think. And then also building She Found Her to a level where, you know, people are kind of self-sustaining their interaction on the platform. So they're building their own profiles, they're connecting with each other, they're finding each other, and we're getting lots of partnerships done and deals done, and women booked for jobs, and we're helping creatives continue their creative journey. So yeah, getting the site, building the site and growing the site, having some amazing placements with people who would make my childhood self freak out. And, you know, I would also like to, on a personal level, like, I would like to probably, like, have a baby in 5 years.
Wow.
I would like to, you know, get married and have a baby, I think. Yeah. It's definitely on my list. Like, if it doesn't happen in the next, like, 2 or 3 years, that's okay. But I think, like, in 5 years, like, yeah, that would be nice.
You'd be a musical mother, Alex.
You'd be a musical mother.
Yes,
anyway, the kid better be talented, otherwise
yeah.
I'll be pretty upset.
I think you won't have a problem with that. You're very musical, you're very talented. I think you'll be fine with that. Your kid will be.
Let's hope. My boyfriend is not very musical, so hopefully he doesn't drag the genetics down. We'll see.
I don't think you'll have a problem with that.
He's not musical at all, so hopefully my genes are strong enough to carry the musical stuff through to the child.
I think in God's timing, I just think that everything will go, everything will be swell, everything will go swaying, and you'll want what's gonna be. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I can see it.
Look, it's on my list. It's in there somewhere in 5 years or so.
Yeah, I think I could see it. So, yeah, if I can see it, yeah. Okay, so, number 9, and then the last question. Actually, 2 more questions. Okay, number 9 is, what is your proudest accomplishment, and what led you to achieve this?
Oh, wow. What is my proudest accomplishment? You know what? I think I've got a couple. I've got 2. I think one of my proudest accomplishments is just going for my dreams, and moving to the States from Australia and making it work, because there's so many obstacles that come up and get in the way when you're trying to move to another country. You know, there's just so much that goes into it, like lawyers and immigration and visas, and it's incredibly time-consuming. It's incredibly expensive. It's really not for the faint-hearted. And a lot of people, you know, I have known a lot of people over the years who have tried to come over here and make a career in entertainment, whether that be acting or music, you know, or fashion, and they've ended up going home because it gets really hard. It gets really hard. And I have, you know, slept on people's couches and, you know, crashed with friends and had no money and gone through that whole process. And so I think it is a great accomplishment, honestly, just to have been able to go after my dreams, move to the States and you know, figure it out, like, and still be here 6 years later or 7 years later. So I think that's one. And I'm still working on it. Like, I'm still working on being where I want to be, you know, in my career, in terms of my accomplishments, financially, just in life, personally, in every way. Like, I'm still working on getting to that place where I feel like, you know, I've made it or whatever. But I think the accomplishment is just hanging in there, still being here, like still being here and still following my dreams. And just, I think that initial moment of boldness of where I sort of put in my 2 weeks notice and quit my job in Australia and booked the flights and came here, I think that was a big accomplishment for me, because prior to that I was so focused on, you know, security and being sensible. And yeah, I'm proud of myself for taking that risk and betting on myself and following my dreams. So I think that was a big accomplishment. And I think I feel really accomplished when we do events for She Found Her. Mm-hmm. When we're in the room and these incredible performers are on stage, blessing everybody with their talent. And we have these amazing businesswomen and entrepreneurs around the room showcasing their brands. And you see people coming together and having such a good time. Like, the vibe and the energy at our events is just, it's emotional. Like, it's just...
Okay, so it was on, I guess. Let me type in. Okay, so, oh wow.